There is a lonely train called the 310 to Yuma. The pounding of the wheels is more like a mournful sigh. There's a legend and there's a rumor. When you take the 310 to Yuma, you can see the ghosts of outlaws go riding by.
We're back.
With a special episode. This is our first of ours. It's the No Wayne, No Pain.
Yeah.
Because we're not watching a John Wayne movie this time. I know, sacrilege.
I know, right? If you were anticipating a enthralling debate about a 1930s John Wayne B Western, eat shit, I guess.
Yeah, if you really wanted to watch the Desert Trail, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
We didn't want to.
We're not.
We're not in the mood. We needed something to liven our spirits again.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's still a Western this time.
It is.
We caught the 310 to Yuma for this episode. We rode in.
Yeah.
We're switching it up. This is from 1957.
1957.
Right, and who's the director again?
The director is Delmer Daves.
Delmer Daves. Crushed it.
He did.
This is an iconic Western, right?
Yeah.
It got remade with Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. Don't know how that is, never seen it.
Someday we'll watch it.
That'll be, yeah, eventually we'll review the second 310 to Yuma, the 620 to Yuma.
Yeah.
We'll watch that one at some point, but this one, I guess I'll do a quick description, then we can get into some facts. This is, if you haven't heard of this movie and you don't know what it's about, basically, there's a bandit who robs a stagecoach, right? And a farmer and his two sons are witnesses to it. And then the bandit ends up getting caught, and the farmer gets enlisted to take him to, where is it? Contention, the city of Contention.
Contention City.
Contention City, where they have to wait for a train, the 310 to Yuma, to put him on trial. Yeah. And that's the general framework for the movie. That's all you really need to know for what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. This is the only movie we have on our channel where I say you should watch this and then listen. Because I don't think we're going to talk about the plot too much outside of themes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so please watch this movie. I know some people will be like, it's black and white, and I don't like black and white movies. If you think that, you're stupid. And I don't like you.
I thought that when I was 8.
Right, yeah. And then you grow once you have a functioning prefrontal cortex,
exactly.
I think you understand that
right. Yeah.
it adds rather than detracts usually to what a film is. Yeah. And honestly, black and white movies kind of are just, the cinematography of them and the shooting can convey so much more in the lighting because you're not distracted by the colors. Yeah, watch the movie. I guess if you're a Zoomer, Alpha, Gen Alpha, whatever the fuck, and you don't like black and white movies, there's probably a TikTok compilation of clips you can watch somewhere. Maybe a YouTube short.
Instagram reel.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Whatever. If that's how you want to watch, this movie, go for it. Yeah, anyway, Micah, could you please give us the facts?
Yeah, so our two actors, two main dudes, are Van Heflin, who plays the rancher, the poor, lowly rancher.
Dan, yes?
Dan Evans, that's the character's name. And then we have Glenn Ford, who plays the outlaw Ben Wade.
Yeah. Immediately, I love that choice, those names, because this movie is built around these two characters, and they're like two opposites, right? Because you've got Dan, who's this traditional family man.
Yeah.
He's
a good man.
He is
for
a good
real
man.
This time.
Yeah, that's his whole thing, is that he's a good man.
Yep.
And he's a family man, and he cares about like the traditional American values: family, hard work. He's not gonna ask anyone for anything because he doesn't want to beg. That's something that is a big thing about him.
Yeah.
And then you've got Ben, who's like the opposite. He's a rogue. He's like a symbol of individualism, right? He's not part of any greater society.
Yeah.
He's charismatic too. Dan's not charismatic.
No.
Right? He's just a simple guy, but Ben's this like swashbuckling rogue, right? And it's funny because they both could be heroes of any other Western movie.
Yeah.
Both of these show up all the time. You've got a family man who gets forced to do the right thing and he gets made a deputy. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Or you follow this like charismatic outlaw, right? That seduces some sort of love interest and he's valiantly fighting, or he's trying to avoid capture.
Right.
But they're both here.
Yeah.
And neither of them is just wholly good or wholly evil. And it's this interesting dynamic. And their names are so similar, too. They're both 3 letters, consonant vowel N. Dan and Ben. Which I really like. I love just because it immediately draws you to comparing the 2 characters, right? Which off the bat.
Right, yeah.
They did a great job. Which I think, because you mentioned this before we started filming, it was shot in 1957.
Yeah.
They had Technicolor.
They did.
This is an expensive movie. It's not like one of those shitty John Wayne movies, which were shot in black and white for cost reasons.
Right, yeah.
They could have shot this in color.
But they did.
They didn't.
Black and white.
And I think that was very purposeful. Because this whole movie is built around this idea of what is the right thing to do, right, in any given situation. Because that's what Dan is struggling with. Because while he has been captured, he's constantly being tempted by Ben. Like, you don't have to turn me in. You could die, right? Don't die to turn me in. I'll pay you, and then you can go and see your family again. And so Dan is grappling with what's the right thing to do. Should I risk my life to uphold the law, or should I just walk away so I can live with my family, right? Yeah. And that's compared with at the beginning when he sees it, his son's like, why do we have to just stand here and watch this robbery happen? Why can't we do anything? And I feel like the black and white, now this is totally out there, but I feel like they were trying to draw an idea to the morality of it, right? Because you've got the whole movie is basically swaths of gray, right? Which is what the characters are going through. None of their conflicts are easy. There's no clear-cut choice. It's always washed in gray morals. Tell me, am I out of line there?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't know if that was stupid or not, so I'm glad you said that.
We're killing it.
Excellent.
Yeah, fantastic, right? I love the characters. Yeah. I especially like Ben, the outlaw.
He's fucking awesome.
He's great. He's so fun to watch because he's always got all these quips, right? Mm-hmm. But he's you just love seeing him, and he's got this confidence to him that's like ego though, right? More than anything. Yeah. Because this is what's so fun about these characters is they're so wildly different, but they're so similar. Because Ben has this egotistical confidence about him that no matter what happens to me, I'm gonna get out of it.
Right. Yeah.
Even when he's when Dan is carrying him away, Ben off the cuff says something to Dan's wife, like, "I hope I can send your husband back to you all right." While he's in handcuffs, right?
Yeah.
He's bragging like, "I'm gonna get out of this. I know I will." And Dan kind of has this, like, pride-based confidence about him, where his farm is dying because of this drought, but he seems to believe that he doesn't need to ask anyone for help, and that he is going to get his family out of it no matter what.
Yeah.
He's not willing to ask for any kind of help.
Right.
He's got that do-it-yourself American pride.
Right.
Again, these guys are so similar.
Yeah.
Like, it's fantastic. I've been waffling for a bit. What have you guys?
I mean, I took like 2 notes. It was just scenes from the movie. I didn't really think about much of motifs or anything. But, I don't know. I was kind of expecting the main the bartender lady.
Yeah.
I was expecting a bit more from her. But
yeah. I think the whole bit was the bit with the bartender. Because Ben, as the swashbuckling rogue, right, when he's in town, he has a brief affair with the bartender. And I think what that was supposed to show is just give us, the audience, contrast. Because that comes right after he shoots and kills 2 men.
Right.
One of which was his own man. Ben murders the driver of a stagecoach and one of his own men the first time we see him. And then the very next scene is him being really thoughtful. Because this isn't just any random bartender. He recognizes her.
Yeah.
Like, he saw her maybe a full year before this scene happens. And he remembers her. Right?
Yeah.
And they have this, like, really believable interaction. Where, like, that's a really nice thing. To just remember this person from that long ago.
Yeah.
From hundreds of miles away. Because it shows him not as just like this purely evil, maniacal villain, but as more like exacting. Because then he explains why he killed the stage driver, because the guy on the stagecoach did draw his pistol first.
Yeah.
So Ben's way of explaining his actions is that was more self-defense. And if he can rob someone without killing anyone, he will. So again, playing into that Western trope of the moral outlaw. He's got a code that he lives by, right? Yeah. Like the traditional, I don't rob women and children, I don't kill family men, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is so fascinating to see these 2 characters opposed. I feel like we should dive in on one character, right? And then the other.
Right.
And then sort of how their story concludes, right? So you've got Dan, the family man,
yeah.
Traditional American values. He starts off with his family. It's almost like his sons aren't proud of him for what he does.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't go out of his way to do the right thing. He does what he can to take care of his family, right?
Yeah.
But that's about it. He's not an exceptional man in any regard.
Mm-hmm.
But once he's put in this position where he can't take care of his family because of the drought, he needs to raise money so he can get water for his farm, for the cattle.
Yeah.
And the second there's an opportunity for him to get that money by joining the posse, he does it. Without thinking, right? Immediately we understand this guy will do anything for his family.
Yeah.
And then the question becomes, how far does that go? Is he willing to do the wrong thing for his family?
Yeah.
And that's what we sort of see tested while he's alone with Ben waiting for the train. Because Ben is constantly offering him, hey, I can give you $400. I'll double what they're paying you if you just let me go.
Yeah.
It would be the safest option for Dan to take, and he'd get more money. And we see him, like, struggling with this, right? On the verge of tears.
Yes.
Because he doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to leave his family behind.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of moral journey he goes on, because we see that he doesn't take that way. Again, it's that pride. He doesn't do the easy thing. That's what makes him this sort of American hero, right? Very American.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Dan?
I mean, it's crazy. Even when his wife shows up, he's still willing to do the right thing.
Yeah.
All the odds. Your wife's there. I mean,
it's incredibly dangerous what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt was great about Alexander. Alexander's the one guy who stood by Dan during this. And he was the town drunk.
Yeah.
Which I
love Alex.
He's great. That's why it hurts so hard when he gets brutally killed.
He gets strung up, man.
He gets shot in the spine and then he's hanged from a chandelier.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a tipping point, right? For Dan's character specifically. Because he mentions that if the town drunk can die for the right thing, why can't I? Right?
Right, yeah.
And that solidifies him in that moment, because he was wavering, what do I do? And that locked him into that position. Now, from that description, it sounds like Dan is the clear protagonist of the movie, right?
Yeah.
But then we've got Ben. We talked about Ben already, and we explained a lot of his plot. Yeah, he does the crime at the stagecoach, kills the two guys, and then he's constantly offering Ben all these different ways to get out, which isn't inherently bad, because he is confident. He thinks his gang already has this plan to get him out, which we find out later. At no point had they tricked the gang. They thought they did, but really they were playing into his hand the whole time.
Right.
He didn't need to offer Ben a way out. He genuinely didn't need to.
Yeah.
There's plenty of opportunities where he could have just been quiet, let them be confident that they had tricked his gang, and he would have gotten everyone there killed, and he'd be able to walk out. But he warns them.
Yeah.
He doesn't let them get taken by surprise, and he offers all of them a way out. Which is interesting, because that's not what a purely evil criminal would do. The smartest thing for him to do would be to shut up and just wait for his gang to show up and say, hey, they're in here. Grab Ben while everyone in the bottom floor gets killed, and then just wait for someone to barge in the door and kill Ben. He doesn't do that.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to kill people. And that gets doubled down where at the very end, the train's shown up, and it's about to leave. The train actually starts moving away. They're not on the train yet.
No.
Ben is surrounded, right?
Yeah.
All he has to do is just wait for the train to pass, and Dan will get shot. He'll walk away. But he doesn't do that.
No.
He jumps onto the train because he respects what Dan did, and he doesn't want Dan to get killed. Because at any point, also, Dan could have just shot Ben.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, Dan could have just shot him, but he chose not to.
Yeah.
And in a few opportunities, in one crucial moment, he saves Ben's life, actually. Because a different guy breaks into the hotel room to kill him.
Yeah.
And he saves him. So both of these characters are in this weird moral question of what should people do? What's the right thing to do here? And both in their way, they make choices that have merit to them and also don't. Because personally, I feel like what Dan does, I don't know if that's really the right thing to do. I feel like at a certain point, you should choose to live for your family, right?
Right, yeah.
And then Ben does, like, the objectively right thing of basically turning himself in to save this guy.
Yeah.
So it's this weird sort of mixture where nothing's cut and dry. It's spectacular.
Yeah. Great.
Right?
It's a gray movie.
It's a great gray movie. Yeah, those were the big things I really wanted to put out. And obviously there's so much left out.
Yeah.
Right, because the score is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this main theme of this train is coming, right? And the theme is all about 310, the 310 to Yuma.
Mm-hmm.
When is the train going to show up? And this boiling, right, of tension.
Right.
As you get closer and closer and more things are happening. There's a few shots of different clocks that really felt like an Alfred Hitchcock sort of move, where it'll just be like a cut to the clock striking 11 and all these chimes are going off and reminding the viewer, hey, shit's about to happen. Right? Pretty much. Yeah, gorgeous movie. Remarkably morally complex, I feel. Especially in contrast. Here, let's talk about it in contrast from John Wayne movies for a moment.
Yeah.
Remind our audience that we're a John Wayne podcast.
Right, yeah. Shoot.
His are never complex.
No.
Well, at least for now. Obviously that changes with, like, The Searchers, where he's a Confederate. That's the whole thing with that movie. But yeah, right now, classic John Wayne movies, he's just straight up the good guy. Kind of like a Marvel movie. Right?
It is a Marvel movie.
There are heroes, villains, and that's it.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to think about it. You don't dwell on it.
Men jumping off of cliffs.
Yes, yeah. Hero, villain, action.
Yeah.
Done.
Action in quotation.
Action, yeah, heavy quotation. Some of it's great, most of it's terrible.
It's mostly funny.
Yes, it has not aged well at all. Unlike this movie, which feels like a real movie.
It is a real movie. Yeah.
It stands up to time. Incredibly, it's one of the best movies I've seen in a minute. Yeah, spectacular. John Wayne movies don't have this sort of complexity, but of course they're not supposed to, right? But that's what's interesting, because John Wayne sort of fits the character that this movie is commenting on, right? Because he's sort of always good American hero, and he's kind of both of these guys combined. Because he's shown as a traditional American with traditional values, because he always gets married in the end, right?
Yep.
But during the actual movie, they have him doing these sort of swashbuckling things. Like, that's why he's always the one to, rather than just stopping a stage that's about to get robbed and defending it, he robs it too. He robs it first, but for good reasons. Because both of these characters are crucial to, like, American identity. At least I think so.
Yeah.
Because Americans very individualistic, especially in the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Like, you go out, you forge your own path, you do your own thing, right?
Yeah.
You get the freedom to do that. But also there's the bigger, you've got to uphold the law. We're a nation of laws, and that supersedes your own personal code. And so John Wayne does both. He upholds the law, but in an illegal way.
Yeah.
Right? And he gets married, but only after doing all these different things. And he's fighting bandits, right? So he's upholding the law there, but he's doing it alone. Right? He's going it alone. He rides into town, no past. He's a unique character. He's super charismatic. And so if you kind of split him in two, in the two aspects of what he is in every movie, you get these two characters.
Yeah.
Dan and Ben. remarkable. Again, not John Wayne. Can't stress that enough. Cannot stress that enough. I mean, he's good for what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right?
But what he's doing isn't good.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, like, it's like the guy who's the best at taking a shit on a plate. Like, he's a master at it. No one shits on a plate like this guy, but at the end of the day, it's still shitting on a plate. At least that's what I'm thinking about. And I can't wait for him to do real movies. Because I know he's good when he does a real movie.
Right, yeah.
Fuck, John Wayne does true fucking grit, man. The Searchers. The Searchers is one of the best movies ever.
Yeah.
But then you've got your fucking, The Big Stampede.
Yeah.
You got your Big Stampedes.
You got your Telegraph Trail.
Oh my god, the Telegraph Trail.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. We got a whole lot of muck to get through.
A lot of muck.
Yeah.
We've got our waders on, trudging through the swamps of John Wayne's early career.
Yeah.
The action in 310 to Yuma is so much better than anything we've seen from any of the other John Wayne movies.
Yeah.
But it's so much smaller.
It is.
The action, no one rides a fucking horse off a cliff in this. But I was way more engaged the whole time because the camera isn't just stagnant, it's super dynamic, right? Yeah. They've got these beautiful swooping crane shots. Mm-hmm. The lighting isn't just flat, like TV style lighting.
Yeah.
There's contrast, right? This movie was composed. It wasn't stitched together. There's no stock footage in this movie.
No rodeo.
no rodeo, no useless ADR lines that add nothing. Here comes the boy from Wisconsin. Look at him ride. Ride him, cowboy, ride him. No, this is a real movie. And I'm so fucking glad we didn't watch a John Wayne movie right now.
Yeah.
I feel free.
Feels good.
I feel liberated. Because I watch other movies. I don't just watch John Wayne movies. Sorry to break the illusion, audience. I've seen other movies between the beginning of this podcast and now.
Right.
It's probably 4 regular movies to a John Wayne movie. That's sort of the ratio I go for.
Yeah, that's higher than me at the moment.
I can only imagine.
I'm about 1 to 1. 2 to 1, maybe.
Damn.
Yeah.
Good lord.
It's a rough life to live.
That is a rough. I feel like that's why I always have more energy for these than you.
Yeah.
You've been beaten down a lot more.
Oh my God.
But that's because I watch like 3 movies a week usually.
Yeah.
I'm usually right around 3.
Yeah.
Sometimes 4, which is almost too many.
Yeah.
But goddamn, does it genuinely? It's agony. Going from every time I forget what a John Wayne B Western is, and the second it starts, it's oh, I remember this.
I don't want to be here anymore.
I don't want to be here anymore. About 10 minutes in, there's no music, or there's a shitty synth soundtrack.
Yeah, probably 3/4 of the movie is just horses galloping.
Or just the lamest fight scene you've ever seen that goes on for too long.
Yeah.
It's no good. But God bless this movie, 310 to Yuma.
It's great.
We haven't really spoiled it. You could absolutely watch this movie after this. Please, I'm begging you.
Dude. Yes.
It's such a good movie. Westerns aren't really a thing nowadays.
No.
The most recent Western, I guess, is technically Killers of the Flower Moon. But that's not not really a Western. It is, but it isn't really.
An authentic, you know.
No, it's Scorsese's switching it, right?
Yeah.
Playing on it. We might talk about that movie at some point. Fuck, that is a good movie.
My God.
We might have to do a Killers of the Flower Moon. Leave a comment if you want a Killers of the Flower Moon episode for the next No Way, No Pain.
Like 2 months from now.
Yeah, 2 months from now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we'll probably be back on the saddle with No Pain, No Wane next time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With whatever the fuck we're watching.
Oh, it's a Desert Trail?
Desert Trail?
Yes, the Desert Trail.
Was this like the 5th trail movie we've had?
Yes, there are a lot.
Wow.
There are a lot of...
Trails in this desert.
Yes.
And yet, yeah, in the John Wayne Desert there are many trails, and yet they're all shaped identically. And just maybe there's a different bush every once in a while. Oh man, it's like this movie, it's like I've been fed a diet of white rice with a little bit of piss in it. And I just got, like, venison. Like, perfectly cooked venison with, like, steamed carrots and potatoes with brown gravy. I can't describe the quality difference between this movie and even, like, Haunted Gold, which is probably my favorite John Wayne movie we've seen so far. That's the difference. Haunted Gold is white rice with a little bit of piss. I gotta stress, it's a little bit of piss. It's not a lot. It adds flavor, right? At least it's a different taste. It's not just white rice, but still, it's piss. It's a little bit of piss. And maybe, like, a strawberry.
A few flakes of cilantro.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, cilantro and piss. With like a water chestnut. One water chestnut, and that's him falling through the mine shaft. That's the water chestnut. Otherwise, it's piss, and this movie is like a Michelin star quality. It's so much better. Watch this movie. And continue watching the podcast. We'll see you the next time we see you with the Desert Trail.
Desert Trail. Don't miss it.
Don't miss on No Pain, No Way.